Hello, my name is Maxwell Cameron, and my Nova ID is N01718681.
All right, Max. Many students look for careers in which they can help others and make a difference in their lives. Why did you choose occupational therapy? And what do you think makes occupational therapy unique?
I think occupational therapy is very unique because of the broad spectrum you can get involved in, anywhere from pediatrics to geriatrics. You can um, elaborate on others' research. You can create your own techniques. It's just a very unique field to get involved in. Me personally, I graduated with a hospitality degree from Florida State University. I knew I wanted to help people and serve people and in different ways. I know it's not exactly the same, but it's very similar in some aspects as far as getting involved with people and having to adapt to unique scenarios. Um, I also attended Catawba College when I was a freshman and had an athletic scholarship there. This taught me to accept people for who they are and what they are. It opened my eyes to things as far as just little niches people have and cultural differences, and how to adapt to them and just deal with them. Me coming from Florida, I didn't have any friends, so I had to make friends and accept people for who they were. For instance, one of my buddies was Chris Dooley, plays in the minor league baseball system now, and he was an extreme hunter, and they just had totally different family cultures, but our families actually came together and are really good friends now. I also, in my life, do a lot of volunteering with Special Olympics. My family is extremely involved in it, and it's a work-study program where we work with mentally handicapped youth, and we train them for on-the-job training. For instance, we at Ward Seafood, my job now, where I work full-time, we have two Down syndrome kids who we've trained and worked with to do simple tasks around the store. And it brings joy to both the customers and themselves, gives them a purpose to, or a reason to get up in the morning and help society. And it's really a pleasure to watch them to go, really a pleasure to watch them just interact with everybody and see the joy they bring to everybody. And I think occupational therapy encompasses all these attributes, and it brings it all together and allows you to better a person to the best of their ability, both spiritually, mentally, and physically. And I'm just extremely excited for the chance to study at Nova, and that's why I like occupational therapy and why I chose to pursue it as my passion.
Max, what led you to believe that Nova Southeastern University was the right place for your occupational therapy education?
From the moment I stepped foot on Nova's campus, I was just taken back and amazed. The professionalism of everything and just the overall demeanor was amazing. As soon as I got out of my car, I noticed that the student body was dressed in scrubs or business suits, and there was nobody in casual wear, and that was really took me back because of the situation I was in the undergraduate, as far as people going to school in sweatpants or whatever they rolled out of bed in. And it was just amazing to see how the students had this passion and respect for their majors to get up and the love. You could see that they really enjoyed going to school and pursuing their passions. And the facilities themselves were amazing. They were state-of-the-art, everything was clean, tidy, and the staff was great. They were very willing to lend a helping hand to you and really break it down for you into what they were looking for in a prospective student. And I found that very interesting going through the processes with other schools. They kind of break it down a little bit here and there, but don't really like baby you. And I felt like Nova really took an interest into prospective students, and they wanted you to want to go to school there. And they drove that into me, and I have an extreme passion to pursue occupational therapy at Nova.
Tell me about a time when something that you had responsibility for at work or school that did not go well, why wasn't it successful? If you had the chance to do it over again, what would you change and why?
Going into my senior year, I had an extreme passion for baseball, and I made it my goal by the end of senior year to get an athletic scholarship. And I actually achieved this goal and got an athletic scholarship to Catawba College in North Carolina. And it was a great experience. And I went in and I thought all the hard work was done. I just went in to school thinking that everything was going to be handed to me and everything, they would just recognize I did everything in the past. But I was entirely wrong, and I actually paid for this, and I didn't play half of my freshman year in baseball, and this really hurt me because at the time baseball was very important to me, and to see others enjoying my passion and to know that I didn't work as hard as I needed to, or I took time off and didn't go into it 100%, it made me I get a little bit guilty, and I just didn't feel like I had done everything I needed to do to get to where I wanted to be. So in a way, I feel like this occupational therapy program and education is basically a second chance to do something I'm passionate about. And I've realized now how hard it's going to not only take to work to get into the program, but once I'm in, to how hard I need to work to get to where I need to be. And that's graduating Nova with a master's degree in occupational therapy.
All right, Max, you were working in a small coffee shop. You were just finishing a busy shift, and you are starting the cleanup closing routine. A coworker rushes over to you, tells you that she is behind, and asks if you can finish the closing tasks by yourself as she is meeting her friend for a movie. You have never completed the closing routine on your own and have concerns about closing the coffee shop alone. In addition, you need to get home on time. What would you do? Please explain your rationale.
In this coffee shop scenario, I wouldn't feel 100% confident that I could get the job done alone. I think that the best procedure about going through this would be to work together to get the job done both punctually and correctly. We have an obligation to the company, and that needs to be done right, the closing procedure that is. At the same time, I'm very detail-oriented, and I don't like to take shortcuts, so I needed to make sure this job is done correctly. For the future, I would love to be trained by her so that I could potentially do this job and she could cut out early. I don't mind covering for people, but I do also have that obligation to management that the job is done correctly. So, like I said, I think the best thing we could possibly do in this scenario would be to work together as a team to get it done both punctually and correctly so that both of us can be to where we have to be.
Please tell us something about yourself that distinguishes you as an applicant to our program.
I think what distinguishes me as an applicant or a good applicant for Nova University is my ability to deal with adversity. Throughout my life, I've liked to make myself uncomfortable by putting myself in uncomfortable situations where I have to get comfortable or adapt to become comfortable. And throughout my life, I think this has taught me patience and how to be open-minded. And it's a really cool experience, just being able to see these things come to fruition and being able to take those lessons and applying them to, I guess, a career or anything that life throws at me. Like I said earlier in the video, I went to Catawba College in North Carolina and was the only Florida player on the baseball team. Most of these guys had grown up together, and they were like a tight-knit family. And I feel like me being myself, I was able to adapt and to get into this family, and they accepted me as one of their teammates and brothers. And we became like a very close-knit family. And they didn't have to accept me, and I feel like that they were very open-minded, but at the same time they accepted that I accepted their differences and or faults, or that I could accept them, and they knew that I had their best interests in heart. Another life lesson I learned was through Special Olympics. I actually coached a teenage mentally handicapped basketball team, and we would have practices and go to tournaments and play on the weekends. And this was very eye-opening as well, because those kids can bring so much joy to you, and they have no idea. And I would love to get involved in that aspect of OT as far as working with mentally handicapped kids. And that's the beauty of OT, that it gives you these opportunities and skills to work with students with physical disabilities or mental disabilities. And it allows them to these opportunities, and I guess you are able to hone your skills and create together, through working as a team, create the best possible human they could possibly be. And it's really cool experience. It's very humbling experience, and just OT embodies everything that I'm really truly passionate about, and that's bettering people as a whole. I'm just truly very excited about the opportunity to possibly go to Nova University, because it's such a prestigious school in occupational therapy, and I'm just excited for the opportunity.